Let's talk about student loans. Welcome to part 1 of Student Loans 101. In this, we're basically going to cover the basics of student loans, the decisions you need to make, the difference between federal and private loans, the difference between unsubsidized versus subsidized, how much to take out, things like that. So if you're interested in that, keep on watching. Look out for part 2. If it's already up, it will be linked down below. In America, the total student loan debt is over $1.5 trillion, and that number is growing. So it basically averages out to about $30,000 per person. However, this is going to vary, of course. There are some people who have over $200,000. There are some people with just $10,000. There are some people in the middle of that. For me, I started at about $49,000 in student loan debt. I am now down to $33,000. So I do kind of fall in that average range, but I did start at about $50,000. The first time that I borrowed money as a student was when I was 17 or I had just freshly turned 18. Student loans are no joke, and I really want to make this video, hopefully so I can reach an audience that's a little bit younger, or maybe even an older audience who has children or who has a child who's about to go to college, because student loans are a huge decision. And when you're 17 or 18 and you just see money and you just think this is your only option, then you can really make big mistakes. The things that they offer to you as a 18-year-old or an upcoming college student, there are educational things on loans on these websites where you borrow from, but I don't really remember paying attention, and I don't really remember what I was thinking when I borrowed all this money. I will talk a little bit more about my story, but for now, let's just answer some basic questions about student loans. The first thing that I want to focus on are the decisions that you will need to make before taking out student loans. The big one is, do you really want to go to school? I know that this is a weird question for a lot of people because it's kind of just expected for you to go to school after you graduate high school. But going to school is not the only option. And I want to offer to you that you can wait. You can wait a year or two and save up money or just work or find something else that you are more passionate about if school is not made for you. There are a lot of stories out there of people who start college, take out loans, they either never finish or they just do something that they do not care about whatsoever. So then they are in debt, working either just a part-time job or a regular full-time job, or doing something that they absolutely hate and still have the debt. If you are going to school just to make your parents happy or your family happy in any sort of way, then I would really sit down with yourself and question that and make sure you actually want to go to school. Of course, I'm not encouraging people not to go to school, but when you are 18 years old or 17 years old, whenever it is that you are going to college, you really don't know what you want to be doing. There are some people who have known what they want to do since they are, a child. And a lot of that has to do with what their parents put into them. But even if you are somebody who knows strongly what they want to do, that can change within a few years of you in college. For myself, for example, I started out as a pre-dental student, and I wanted to be an orthodontist. 3 years into college, I realized I did not want to do that anymore. I am not saying that I regret my college experience because I then continued on to get my master's, but I definitely would have changed my majors looking back now. So just be really thoughtful about the major that you choose and then figure out if you even want to go to school. The other thing to consider when it comes to school is what you're going to major in, of course, because if you are majoring in something that is not going to create a profitable income for you after college and you are in 50,000 plus of student loan debt, then you are going to struggle and you are going to stress out after college. And to be honest, I don't think that's worth it. If you are super passionate about something, but a degree doesn't really help you to get anywhere, maybe you don't need that degree, maybe there's other options for you, or you can choose a different major so you can go down a different path and work on whatever you're passionate about on the side. Do some research on the jobs and the income that are available to you after you graduate with that major, because a lot of times schools promise something that is just not true. Just because you have a 4-year degree or even your master's, it may not be easy for you to find a job, or if you do find a job, it may not support you financially that much. It's really something to consider, so don't be blind to that, even if you are really passionate about this subject. The next thing to consider is where you are going to school. A lot of people know this early on in high school, maybe about halfway through high school or their third or fourth year. As of right now, the average in-state tuition is $10,000 per year, and the average out-of-state tuition is $25,000. Of course, there are schools that are way more expensive than this or a little bit cheaper than that, but it is something to do your research on. Whichever school you decide to go to, figure out how much it costs. You may even want to consider going to community college for your first 2 years and then going to a 4-year university for your final 2 years to graduate with that college. I know that saves people a lot of money. I know some people absolutely do not want to do that. And I did want to mention those tuition fees did not include room, food, board, any of that, or books. So that's another thing to consider. If you move out of state, you're also going to have to find somewhere to live, or if you want to live on campus, that costs a lot of money. Books cost a lot of money, all of which you will either need to pay for or take out student loans for. I did live on campus my first 2 years, which is also why I have more student loan debt. I do not regret that, but it was definitely unnecessary. And if you are somebody who is going to college for the college experience, I would reconsider that, because honestly, going to college should be more about getting an education. And of course, living on campus and living that college experience is a way to grow as a person. If you want to go to a college just because of the football team or just because of the dorm rooms or the lifestyle that that college allows for, just keep in mind that that is what you are paying for with your tuition. So education does not need to cost that much money. You can get quality education at a community college or a in-state college, but the schools with big sports teams and, fancy amenities on campus are going to cost you a lot more. So if you are going just for the college experience, then recognize that you will probably be taking out more student loans or just having to pay more. The next decision you have to make is which type of loans you want to take out. So there are federal loans, which are provided by the government, and then there are private loans, which are offered by private lenders. I do not recommend private loans whatsoever. Private loans have a higher interest rate. They're going to require a higher credit score in order for you to get a lower interest rate, and even then it won't be as low as federal student loans. They also are not as forgiving when it comes to payments. So if you get out of college and you are not able to make payments for whatever reason, then they are not very forgiving of that. So we're not going to focus on the private loans here. I honestly do not recommend you take out private loans if you can control that. I don't recommend the Parent Plus loans. I suggest putting this in your name, unless of course your parents can pay for you your tuition, which is perfectly fine. That you are their child, they are supporting you, they save for you to go to college, and that is perfectly fine. But if you are like many of us who their parents do not have the funds to support you financially, and of course we do not have the funds to support ourselves to go through college as an 18-year-old, then you are probably going to need to take out federal student loans. Now, federal student loans also have two separate areas. There are unsubsidized and subsidized. It depends on your financial situation, but if possible, try to only take out subsidized loans. Subsidized loans do not accrue interest while you are in school. They do not accrue interest the day that you take them out. On the other hand, unsubsidized loans begin to accrue interest as soon as you take that loan out. So every single day they will be accruing interest while you are sitting in class and through summer break and all of it, while you're not paying your loans, it will be accruing interest. Depending on the interest rate, you may borrow $2,000 your freshman year, but by your senior year and after you graduate, that $2,000 may grow to $5,000, $6,000, $8,000, whatever. It just depends on the interest rate. But that is why I suggest avoiding the unsubsidized loans, because they will accrue interest. The next thing to consider is how much should you borrow or how much can you borrow. Again, this is going to depend on your family's financial situation. In this video, I'm not going to explain how to take out student loans. You would go through FAFSA. You have to enter your parents' information, their personal information, and also their financial information. And then that is how they figure out how much money you will get to borrow. Oftentimes, you will have your tuition and they will offer you a loan that is a lot more than your tuition costs and your fees, things like that. So for example, let's say for the semester, everything is going to cost you $6,000, but they offer you a subsidized loan for $7,000 and an unsubsidized loan for $3,000, so a total of $10,000. So they may do that. They may offer subsidized and unsubsidized. You get to choose if you want one, the other, or both. If you take both, what's going to happen is you will get a refund later on in the semester. It'll come a couple of weeks after you pay the tuition and everything gets processed. You will get a refund. It will be direct deposited into your bank more than likely, and you're gonna think that you have free money. This is not the case. For one semester of my sophomore year, I worked at the university bookstore, and people were using their refund money because it would go to like their university card, and they would use their refund money to just blow. They would blow it on, little notebooks, on new computers, new devices, on clothes, on random things that they absolutely did not need. And so this money is still a loan. This is not just free money given to you. So you are literally spending a loan. This is like taking out credit card debt or whatever. You took out student loan debt. They are giving it to you as a refund if you took out extra aside from your tuition and fees. And if you just go and blow that, you are still going to have to pay that back. For me, and probably for a lot of people, I would typically do this on purpose. I know that for my first couple of years when I was living on campus, my dad also had to pay money because we did not qualify for more loans. I did not get any refunds my first 2 years, but then my third and fourth year in grad school, I did take out more money than I needed to because I chose to. Do I recommend this? No. At the time, this felt like the right decision to make. I had moved out with my sister. Me and her bought a house. Some of that refund money I used as a down payment. I also used a lot of the refund money to keep myself afloat throughout the year. Looking back, I do not regret it because it allowed me to live on my own or with my sister and have our own house, and I absolutely cherish that, and I really appreciated moving out onto our own. Would I do it again? Not necessarily. I don't say that I regret it because I am okay with that decision that I made, but I probably would not do that again. I would figure out a way to make it work. You may be wondering how you can take out less money. So there are grants, which is money that you do not have to pay back. Some people qualify it, many people don't. It depends on your family's income and I believe on the state that you live in. So I got grants a few years, but it was typically under $1,000 or around $1,000, which did not cover much. The other thing is scholarships. So I know for Georgia, I live here in the state of Georgia, and there is something called Hope Scholarship. So this starts from high school. So if you have a certain GPA when you graduate from high school, you qualify for Hope Scholarship, which pays a percentage of your tuition. I had Hope Scholarship all through my undergrad. You have to maintain a certain GPA to qualify for this, which helps tremendously. It doesn't help tremendously, actually, I take that back. But it pays a good portion, any bit helps. You do not have to pay back a scholarship, and obviously that way I do not have to take out as much loans. Of course, you can also apply for other scholarships or qualify for other scholarships if you are doing a certain program or if you write a paper. Do your research on scholarships. That is one big regret that I have that I did not do in college. I honestly was lazy because most of them require you to write a really detailed essay or something like that. But looking back now, writing some papers or just trying to save money in any way would have been really nice now. Of course, you can work while you are in college. I highly recommend this. I think it is a great challenge to take on. I worked all throughout college, just a part-time job. I held multiple jobs throughout college and even into grad school. I was a teacher's assistant or a TA for a lab. So during my master's, I did still take out loans, but my tuition was completely paid for aside from the fees. And then I also received a monthly stipend for teaching this class. It wasn't much, but it was definitely helpful. And so while you go through college, you can work. Now, my only thing is save this money. Looking back now, I don't know where that money went. And so I have worked for years and years, but I do not have that much money saved. Like, I was not a saver, I was a spender back in college, and I also didn't put any of that money to my debt while I was in college. There are also work study programs that you could be a part of, or maybe even paid internships that you can look into while you are in school, which I highly recommend. If you can, try to pay for your loans while you are in college, because this is going to lower your interest and lessen the load when you graduate. Just keep in mind that the unsubsidized loans are accruing interest daily, the subsidized are not, but that makes a huge difference in the long run. So try to minimize your borrowing of unsubsidized loans, avoid the private loans, and try to avoid taking out more than you actually need. In the second part of this Student Loan 101 series, I am going to talk about repayment options and also talk about consolidation, more about the interest accrued, public service forgiveness, tax benefits, things like that. So stay tuned for that. Hopefully you found this helpful. Please comment down below if you did, or give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe if you have not already. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you very soon.